Welcome, everybody. My name is Michael McAvoy, and you are in the right place. This is the live web event tonight. It's on the 2-Hour Author, a new partnership that Lighthouse Publishing and Dig Deep Media are offering. And so we invite everybody to chat with us. Let us know you're here. There's if you look over on the right-hand side of the window, there is a chat box. We'd like you to just type in hello and maybe where you're from so that we can get an idea who is here. So I'm going to give you a moment to do that, and we're going to go ahead and then we'll get started. So we're going to have a minute or two for people to say hello and come on in, and then we're going to get started. Okay? Welcome, Donna. Thank you for joining us. Can we have everybody type into the interface? We want to make sure that everybody is able to see us and that we've got a good, everybody can hear us. So this is Michael McAvoy talking, and maybe Zeal, Dr. Zeal, if you could say a few words.
Hi, everybody. I'm glad to be here. And once you have today who you are, and get started.
All right, very good. So we're coming to you from different locations. I'm coming from Boulder, Colorado, and Dr. Zeal is in the great state of Hawaii. So he's got a little thing going on with the camera, so you might see some zooming in and out. Not a deal killer, but I just want to make you aware of that. Okay. Welcome, Darlene. Thanks for joining us. John. Okay. Jennifer, thanks for joining us. And Tamira. Ivanka. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and get started. I'll make an introduction, and then as soon as you know a little about us, we'll go ahead and go into the content. All right, so my name is Michael McAvoy, and I'm the CEO of Dig Deep Media. We're an online concern. We do anything with electronic media, and among those is publishing. So more in the realm of video, audio, and that type of production, websites, those kind of things. And so I'm joined today by Dr. Zeal Okajeri, and Dr. Zeal is a author and a publishing expert. What I'd like to do is ask Zeal if you could introduce yourself a little bit more.
Thank you, Michael. I'm glad to be here. Like Michael said, I'm speaking from Hawaii. In Hawaii, great here. We're all here to have this event together. Nevertheless, let me say a little bit about myself. I've been involved in publishing for about 15 years. In 2003, I founded a library publishing company based in Honolulu, on-demand company. And I've been doing some writing myself. In addition to writing my own book, I have also written about 20 books for other people as a ghostwriter. I've also been a former lecturer at the University of Hawaii, where I taught graduate course in clinical finance and economics. These days I still write, publish, and I lead retreats to places like China, Nepal, India. A major part of the work we do with regard to publishing is really non-fiction. We do memoirs, we do spiritual books, we do motivational self-help books, and children's books. And really we're going to be talking about what to do to make these books happen. Because the process is really the same whether you're writing a memoir, a technical book, or an inspirational book. It's the same process. So we're going to talk about it as we go on. So I'm happy to meet all of you. Welcome to the program.
Okay. Dr. Zeal, I'm having trouble hearing you. I'd like to ask if someone in the chat box could just say how does Dr. Zeal sound to you? Are you able to hear correctly? Could someone just type in and just say, hey, I can't understand. Everything is clear. We need to get a baseline here. That's going to probably take a moment to get an answer on that. If there is an issue, I think we can probably bring you in by phone so that we can have clear audio. All right, but that's our fallback. All right. Let me go ahead and I'll load up the slides that we're going to be covering today. Okay, so this is our slide deck. It's the 2-hour author: how to write and publish your first book in just 2 hours. Now, if you're hearing me, Donna, you're the first one in. Could you make a comment about the audio that you've heard from each of us and make sure that it is clear? If not, it doesn't sound clear. Now, does my audio sound clear to you, Donna? And is it different from Dr. Zeal? I'm going to dial you on your phone number there. We're just going to do that. I think you might want to put your microphone on mute, Dr. Zeal, and then I'll bring you in via phone.
All right. Okay.
Okay, calling now.
Hello?
Okay, I'm going to bring up your volume a bit. Go ahead and talk.
Am I okay now? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you. There's a little bit of feedback, but I think it's manageable.
Okay.
All right, so we'll do the best we can with that. Let me try something here. Okay, hello?
Yes.
All right, okay. All right, so if you have do you have a mute on your phone there?
Yes, on the phone. Yes, I do.
Just mute yourself for a moment and we'll see if we can manage this.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear an echo.
Yeah.
You're muting your phone?
No, not
Not the phone, but the phone on the camera.
Okay, yeah. It's the phone that you want to mute. You want to mute both while I'm starting, and then unmute your phone only. In other words, mute your audio on the computer, and then mute your phone only when you're not talking.
Okay.
Donna, thanks for your feedback. It's helping us. Thanks. Okay, so I'm going to get started here. We're talking about the authorship tonight and the ability for you to get a book published in a much faster time than would normally be possible. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the meat of the presentation here. So how to write and publish a book for your first book in just 2 hours. Why would you be interested in doing that? Well, the simple fact is that most would-be authors or people who have contemplated writing a book have never had the opportunity because of various reasons, and probably the biggest of is time and procrastination. But there are some very good reasons why people would like to do that. So the main one is that people want to share what they've learned, their knowledge, their wisdoms, their stories, their life experience. These are the main reasons why people write books. They have something to share. Now, it's a great vehicle in order to get your ideas out of your head and into something that other people can digest and understand and consume. So this is another reason why you would want to author a book. Finally, introducing yourself is a key here, because the book is one of the best vehicles available to introduce yourself to a wide market of people, and it's a very it's a venerable mechanism because it's been around for hundreds of years. And finally, by authoring a book, you're building authority, and there's no better way than being an author to show that you are an expert in a certain area, or that you have an expertise that highlights your strengths. But not everybody was a born writer, and so this is part of the reason why we've partnered on this project to help people to write their first book. Now, our good friend William Shakespeare and Stephen King, these guys were born, practically born with a pen in their hands. But we're not all born with that capability. So what is the best way for us, the other people, to become authors? Well, if you've ever thought about it, sometimes it brings up some emotions around that. Is it really possible? Is it something that I should even contemplate? After all, it is a daunting task for many. It's intimidating for a lot of people. And finally, it involves a lot of time and commitment. So this is probably the main reason that people never author a book, is because they just don't find the time, or they cannot commit to it in the way that they should. So the question I have to ask is, do you have to be a writer to become a published author? Well, the answer to that is, I would say, you do not have to be a writer. But let's look at an example. You might recognize this as the Dalai Lama, and his best-selling book was called The Art of Happiness. But do you think that he actually sat down and wrote the manuscript for this book? No, the answer is that he had help. And if you look at the cover there, Howard Cutler, MD, was a person that did a series of interviews with the Dalai Lama and then edited it into the manuscript that would become The Art of Happiness. So this is an example which actually follows what we're going to be talking about here tonight. But that's just to show that you can be an author, and without the months of sitting at a table, staring at blank pages and coming up with ideas, you can do it in very rapid fashion, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. So the main point here is authorship is about the ownership of ideas. It's not about writing words on paper. The ownership of ideas. It's about getting your ideas out of your head to be shared with the world. And if you can find a way to do that that makes it possible, then that's something that you should be taking advantage of. So what I want you to think about here is that it's possibly opening up some possibilities that you did not consider before. Because I think, most people think, hey, if I'm going to write a book, I got to sit down and write a book. But the fact is that there are easy ways in order to get that done that doesn't involve taking months of solitude in order to put your pen to paper. So that's the overview. We are going to be taking questions, so at any time during the event, if you would like to ask a question, please just type it into the chat box, and then we will address every question. So if there is any that come along, we will see them here, but we will be addressing them at certain points during the event. So at this point, we're going to now go into a little bit about the process of writing and publishing a book. And since Dr. Zeal is an author and does understand the process very intimately, has also helped many individuals write books, I'm going to allow Dr. Zeal now to talk about the process. You're muted. Yeah, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Maybe you can mute your microphone so I can come in more clearly.
I'm still hearing the echo, but I'll turn my mic off. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the process involved in actually the production of your book. The first step, of course, is planning. What exactly do you have in mind to write about? And who is your audience? Sometimes some authors are writing for everybody, but that is very difficult. So it's very important to narrow down your audience and plan how you're going to present, how to package and present your book to the world. Now, in our traditional work of ghostwriting, we do an interview process. There's an interview of the author where we sit and exhaust the author's knowledge about the material that the author wants to write about. Now, the next step is that this interview is actually transcribed by a professional transcriber. Now, there are softwares that can do transcribing, but they have not been perfected yet. So we rely on the old-fashioned method of doing it manually. So we don't have to go back and listen to the tape over and over again. So after the transcribing, we have to do research and add to what the author has said, and also verify what the author has said. You see, this is to support, to add content to the author's interview. Now, once that has been done, the next step is to have someone else to rewrite what the author had produced in the rough draft, and to package it more elegantly so it can be easily more digested by the readers. After the rewriting has been completed, then it goes to the editor. Okay, the editor's job is to make sure there are no grammatical errors, no spelling errors, to make sure that it's congruent, coherent, and devoid of contradictions. That you don't say one thing in chapter 1 and contradict yourself in chapter 5. So we have to make sure that everything is clean. When the editor is done, it goes to someone else, the proofreader, who is going to evaluate what the editor has done. Okay, the editor will do some proofreading, but we need new set of eyes to actually do the proofreading. Now, while that is being done, we have the interior designer or the layout person preparing to lay out the book. Now, this professional has to sit and determine the best look for the book interior, depending on the subject matter and the audience. And after that is done, we have someone else who has to do the book synopsis, or the back of the book sales blob. When you go to the bookstore to buy a book, the first thing you do is look at the book cover. Then you turn the book around and look at the back. And you're going to read a little summary of the book. But that is not just information that summarizes the book. It's actually information to sort of entice you to buy the book. So although this is just about maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs, it takes many hours to craft. And you have people whose job is simply to do that. Okay. When that is done, the next thing to do is to write the author's bio. Now, the main thing we want to highlight in the author's bio is what qualifies this author to write about this subject. Okay, if you're going to be writing about healthcare and giving recommendations for healthcare, of course it pays if you were a healthcare provider. So we want to tell the potential reader in the author's bio what qualifies the author to write this book. Now, on the creative side, which is happening simultaneously, we have the graphic designers who are designing the book cover. You see, and their main focus is to make the best impression and to captivate, motivate potential buyers to pick up the book. And one of the things we like to do is to invest adequately to make the best or to produce the best book cover. Because contrary to the saying, people do judge the book by the cover. And of course, we supply the ISBN numbers, the Library of Congress numbers. We generate barcode. And with these, the graphic designer can put the book cover together. Finally, when we have the interior files and the book cover files converted to PDF, they are both uploaded to the printer. Then we wait for the proof copy, one going to the author, one coming to us. And if everything looks okay, the book is now released to the general public and available at all the various online booksellers, major online booksellers around the world. And if the project involves an ebook version, then we'll upload the files for Kindle, EPUB, and other formats, so that they can be read with different tablets from around the world. So, in a nutshell, that summarizes the process involved in the book production. And typically, for our purpose here in doing ghostwriting, we're usually doing about a book anywhere from 150 to 250 pages on our end here. And the reason we keep the book this size is because we want to make sure that the book is not too bulky. People can easily take this book and travel with the book without worrying about excess luggage.
Dr.
Okay,
Zeal.
Michael, that summarizes it, yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you continue here in a moment. I was going to ask just if you could turn down your speaker on your computer as much as you can in order to still hear. That will help with the echo.
Okay.
Okay, are you able to see the slides?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so continue, please.
Okay. Now, why do you want to publish a book to begin with? One reason, of course, is to grow your business. I have a good friend of mine who is a psychotherapist. He specializes in a special therapy. After publishing his book, he began to actually get clients flying to California to see him from all over the world. So you see, it was a good way to grow his business. Secondly, you can advance your career. After I published my book, I realized that I was no longer in the healthcare, in the clinic practicing, that I was now going around doing talks and getting on the radio and getting on, different televisions and doing talks, and also now helping people to write and publish books. This was never my intention. After I wrote my book, all this began to happen. So you can advance your career this way. Some people simply want to leave a legacy. They're not interested in becoming a bestseller. They just want to pass something down for the next generation. Some want to build authority. Let's face it, once you write a book, people assume that you know something about something, whether you actually do or not. People assume that. So you build authority by writing a book. Some like to teach something new. Some want to inspire and motivate. Some want to contribute. Some want to bring up a brand new idea. Instead of 5-day work week, they introduce, how about we work just 4 days a week, 4-day work week. So they want to bring a whole new way of looking at things that we have been looking at before. Some want to make money. So there are many different reasons why people write a book, and you just have to determine what yours are. Okay. How much does this cost? Now, when we are talking about ghostwriting, which is what my company does primarily, and I mentioned that we do publish books anywhere from 150 to 250 pages. Now, the cost for this is between $30,000 to $35,000, and that is actually very competitive in the industry. I remember a time that I was overwhelmed because I had multiple projects, and I called the ghostwriter in Washington State to help me out. So he told me that his minimum charge to ghostwrite is $50,000. I said, well, I have to get back to you on that one. So the rate that we normally charge is $30,000 to $35,000 to ghostwrite for our typical client. So, but I'm sure that Michael, the rate Michael is going to give is nowhere near what I have just indicated.
Okay, so speak a little to credibility and authority, the points that you had shared earlier.
Yeah, that is very important because people write books for different reasons. If a doctor wants to write a book, it could simply be to give the patient more information and understanding about what he or she is doing. And it helps with patient retention. When the patient understands precisely what it is that you have to offer them, then they are more prone to comply with the recommendations that you make, you see. And the same with other businesses, and it's important to tell the story about your business because your customers feel like they know you, they can relate with the company. Otherwise, they just look at you as just a company out there to make money. So you can definitely increase your business significantly by presenting your story and what you have to offer in a book form. Now, as an individual or a professional who is interested in speaking, a book adds to your credibility. When people hear you on stage, in the back of the room, they can buy your book and take a part of you back with them. So the book reinforces what they have just heard. And now that you have authority, there are now more speaking opportunities for you if you so desire to teach. Some people have no desire to do that, but many do. And you can get your message out to a lot more people than you were able to before. I remember when I first wrote my first book, about 3 months after that, after I was invited to speak to a university in San Diego, one of the students emailed me and told me that she had lost a copy of my book in a train in France. She was visiting Paris. she lost my book, and she was really very distraught. So I was, happy to send her another book. And then another woman sent me an email that she wants to buy 12 books and distribute to her friends in Berlin in Germany. So once you write a book, you have no idea where your book is going to. So you're going to really expand your distribution network. I mean, your outlet for your message. You have no control of it. And you can do this through TV interviews, through news coverage, through press release. There are just so many different ways when we get into, if you're interested in marketing, that we can give you a lot of information on how to market your book, to successfully market your book. Yeah.
Okay.
So these are just some of the few things that can happen with your book in place.
Okay. I know there was a couple of more points that you wanted to cover, and one of them being, the recipe for a successful book, as well as the qualities of a good book. So why don't you cover those, and then I'll continue.
Okay. Okay, let's talk more about what the recipes are for a successful book. Now, it has, in order to have a successful book, it has to be well written. If you recall, I was talking about going through the writing, the rewriting process, the editing, the proofreading process. That has to be done. It's okay if a reader sees one or two errors in your book. It's okay. But to see ongoing grammatical errors, ongoing misspellings, that is simply unacceptable. It's a turnoff. And any serious reader will just discard or just throw away that book. So it has to be well written, and it has to be congruent. Like I said before, you cannot keep contradicting yourself. And also, it really is very helpful if you can tell some stories in your book. No matter how technical your book is, if you can weave some stories around this technical stuff, people can easily digest the material. Okay, and the stories are remembered by people perhaps 500% more than any other data. I have given talks in different places, and 5 years later, I run into somebody, and they say, Dr. Zeal, I really appreciated that story you told us. And they will tell me the exact same story from beginning to the end. And at that time, I have actually forgotten that story. But they tell me the exact same story I told them, and they tell me the complete story. So people have tremendous retention for stories. So if you can weave a story within your book, I think you will have a book that people can actually sit and read through. And also, if you have a nice hook in your story, what makes your story so unique? You see, like I talked about before, 4-day work week. That's something that people might be interested in. They don't want to work entire 5 days. So I'm interested to know more about what you have to say there. So you have to have a hook. There are some really successful books or book series that you can recall, such as the Chicken Soup for the Soul series with Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield. They've sold more than 120 million copies of that book around the world. So it's a highly successful book. But, and what is the book about? Storytelling. Storytelling, that's what the book is about. So, like I said, if you can have good stories and also these stories had nice hooks on them, you will have a fairly successful book, no matter what you are writing about. Now, let's go on, Michael, with the next slide. Now, when we're talking about quality of a good book, it's important that you keep it real. Real to real life events, real life situations. Some authors get overzealous and they make unreasonable promises, promises that they cannot deliver on. Too much fluff. This is unnecessary. People appreciate honesty, directness, being real. And also you be yourself, and just, if you're writing a memoir, just tell your story. Some people go off to write about a topic because it's a hot topic. That's fine if you want to do that. But if let's say you were writing a memoir, which is what I specialize in, you just simply tell your story, and people will relate. If you're telling a story about your struggle and how you were able to emancipate yourself from your struggles, people will relate. And of course, you give value, whether you're writing technical information or whether you're writing an inspirational book. You make sure that what you are talking about in your book is really going to serve people. You see, one thing you have to keep in mind in writing a book is who is my audience and what is in it for them. What are they going to get out of it? This is what you have to keep thinking from beginning to end. What are they going to get out of it? Because your book is not for you, it's for them. So it's very important to keep that in mind. And of course, you can inspire, you can motivate. Again, all depends on your genre, what you're writing about. But a little inspiration doesn't hurt. And then you offer people, what is the next step? What is the next step in meeting their challenges? Because every book is there to meet some kind of a challenge, to solve some kind of a problem. Even if it's just entertainment, you're still entertaining people and solving the problem of boredom. So every book out there has a problem. You have to find out what it is in your book and make sure that you're able to satisfy that requirement.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Zeal, for going through those points. I think at this point, I will ask if there's any questions. Please enter them into the chat box. We'll be picking them up a little bit later. So right now, I think what we should do is we should talk about the 2-Hour Author and why we have partnered to create this product. The 2-Hour Author. With this, it allows for rapid publishing. For many people who would never have had the opportunity to actually author a book, it makes it very accessible to just about anyone. And there are so many people that have something to share that just didn't have an outlet to do that. So with the 2-Hour Author, the same exact team that is involved in this $30,000 to $35,000 effort on a book is involved with this as well. The only difference is that the content is going to be a little bit shorter. It's going to be a shorter book. However, it is going to be much more focused, direct, and it will also have the component of being distilled down to the most usable information. Because let's face it, there's a lot of books that have a lot of fluff, and this is actually can be the downfall for a lot of books. And in fact, I think Dr. Zeal, you might speak to this. Isn't there a statistic that shows that the average number of pages that a person reaches in a book before they put it down?
It's about 18 pages.
18 pages. So, if you can't get more than 18 pages into a book, there's something wrong probably with that book. Maybe pointing to the fluff. But anyway, let's talk again about who's involved. And this is again in the product that we've assembled here. It's the same team that will be involved. You'll have an interviewer, and in this case, for the people on with us tonight, it will be Dr. Zeal himself. We'll have a transcriber who is going to take down the interview, and we'll talk about exactly, how much even more particular about that. But I'm just going to run through this. Okay, we're going to have one proofreader. There's going to be 2 different proofreaders, but we're going to have our first proofreader go through the material, and then after correcting for errors, we'll have an editor go through for grammar and corrections along those lines. Then we're going to have a second proofreader go through and look at the material. And the reason for that is because the first proofreader will miss certain things. And by having two people go over that, it virtually eliminates the possibility that there could be a mistake that goes to printing. We have a cover designer who designs both the front and back cover of the book. It's registered with the ISBN number, which makes it basically universally identifiable. The author bio is created, and obviously we work with the author on that. The interior layout is done after the manuscript has been checked by everyone, including the author. And then finally, the book is printed. And this is not only a physical printing, but we also have electronic printing that allows it to be published on all of the electronic networks. So the main thing that we're doing is allowing you to distill your knowledge, experience, and story into a very cohesive and easily digestible book in 2 hours of your time. Is it really possible? Absolutely. It really is possible. It's been we've already proved this concept, and it's actually in many ways more accessible than a longer format book. So you will have what many people are still dreaming of, and that is becoming a published author. You'll command greater respect within your community as well as the world at large. And you will be the authority on the subject that you're writing. I might be a little strong with that one, but the point is that compared to people who don't write books, the authority is just not the same. So, step by step, what is the process that we do with the 2-hour author? We begin by getting on with the author to go over a brainstorming session that is covering the points that are going to be presented in the book, helping to get a laser focus on that. So things like the different areas to cover, perhaps chapter headings, things that are going to draw attention and continue the interest of the reader. Then, using that outline, we then conduct a 90-minute interview with the author. Okay, we cover all of the points in the book, trying to dig out the best material from the author. And this is something that Dr. Zeal in particular has a great ability to do. So it's almost as if that you have somebody live on the spot that's able to draw out those things that are of great interest. In other words, you can listen. You could listen to the interview, but only certain people can actually identify what is going to be of the greatest interest. So then, after the interview, our team goes to work. The interview is transcribed, and this is going over a little bit of what I said earlier, professionally proofed and edited. We create the chapter headings, and this is partially on that planning session, but we fine-tune it so that, again, the interest is kept high as people are reading through the book. Register the ISBN barcode. That will also get you a soft copy for review. So the book does not go any further until the author, him or herself, has reviewed the content and given the okay to go further with it. And that would mean to the design and final layout for printing. So we'll also create a call to action rear cover with your bio. So it's two things. It's going to talk about you as the author, what you bring to the market or to the audience that you're trying to reach, and it also will include a call to action, meaning what is the next step that you would like your reader to take. in some industries or professions, it's a very specific thing. Like, for instance, a doctor who might be sharing a new procedure or trying to educate his client about a procedure. There, the next step would be, perhaps come to my office, and we'll talk directly about your next step. So the idea is that it's never the end of the book shouldn't be the end of the path that you and the reader take together. Okay, so we'll format the book, lay it out, do the text setup for it. We're going to print and ship 50 copies of the book to you, and this is in addition to the PDF or the electronic downloadable version of the book. We'll register your book web domain. Now, this is something additional that is a value add with regards to marketing of your book. So you would have a dedicated web domain for your book, and then we'll create a web page for your book. This is a place where people can go to enter their information who either might want to download the book or would like to contact the author for more information. That simply allows you to build a list of users or people interested in your subject. This is something that is missing from a lot of people who do self-publishing or independent publishing, and it's just something that every author should have. Okay, so you also have the ability to offer the book for sale online. Some people have different ideas about what they are using the book for. In some professions, they simply want to have an educational material that they can give that allows people to understand better and to take a next step. That doesn't necessarily mean selling the book. That's more of a kind of a more elaborate business card, if you will. But others would like to sell the book and to make it a profit center, and so you can surely do that both in printed form and in electronic form. The book will be made available at all major online booksellers worldwide with no added cost. Now, what are the benefits of this approach? Well, first of all, it avoids a huge time commitment. Being that your commitment in time is going to be, we'll say 2 hours, but probably a little more than that, because you are going to be involved in checking things and reviewing things. But the point is that the content that you're going to give during your outline and interview is going to be the core of the book. And if you're curious about, well, what is the length of a book like this? Well, the format is a paperback book, 5x8, which is a standard format, and the estimated length of it is going to be probably in the range of 50 to 75 or 80 pages. So it's a shorter book, but again, the point is not to write a novel. It's really to disseminate information in a very distilled way. It delivers your message in a direct way, no fluff. This is kind of what I just alluded to, and by doing that, you actually give your reader a chance to read the book from cover to cover, because it can be consumed in an afternoon. So people are much more likely to complete a book just because of the short format. It's easily digestible and understandable, and this is, again, between the author and the editing makes it this way. And by easily digestible, again, it's easy for people to complete because there are the chapter headings are shorter chapters, the headings are there, so it's leading them through the completion of the book. By the way, it's very effective for a how-to type of book, because you can lay out the steps in this nonfiction type of format very easily. But that being said, also for your story, if you happen to be sharing inspirational life events and these kind of things. It's the same type of thing, but I just want to point out that a lot of these books are going to be the how-to type or sharing something about your expertise. So it starts the readers on your path, and by this I mean that this book is just a doorway through which that you can make a relationship, form a relationship with individuals who read this book. The hope is that whether you're going to write additional books or to offer training or a product or service, that you're going to be able to do that easier simply by using this as the doorway. Okay, so let's talk about what the investment is. Now, as Dr. Zeal alluded to earlier, this is not going to be anywhere near what it costs to produce a full-fledged 200-page book. The cost is $39.95. That's the price that we have set. Okay, all of the things that we've gone through, that includes the 8-person team that will be going over this book from beginning to its printing. But we are going to make a little better offer for you on this live event. And what we're going to do is to reduce the price to $29.95. And this is only for this event. We want to have since this is a new offering, we want to have several people who have the first mover advantage, so to speak. And to do that, for this event, we're going to offer a one payment of even a lower price of $27.50. So by making one payment, you'll be able to get the full package and a little bit of a discount even further because of that one payment. But we do have a second option. There are some people do not really are unsure or want to look in a little further, and we do offer a consultation, a strategy session. So by this, you would simply pay $249, and that will get you a 1-hour strategy session and consultation on your subject, where either Dr. Zeal or myself could consult with you on your book. And then if you choose to move forward with the book, then you would just complete the purchase by adding or completing the $29.95 purchase. The $249 would be applied as a down payment. So it's not separate from the total purchase price, but it's not giving you the one pay price of $27.50 either. So I'm going to what I'm going to do is ask Dr. Zeal to share just a couple of more points, and while he's doing that, I will give the purchase information on your interface. So please go ahead.
Michael, can you hear me?
I can. Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Good. Okay, so this is really an incredible price that Michael has given you. We don't do books for that price at all. But because of the need that exists out there, we consider that if we had a number of people, volume, that we can accommodate this price. Now, many people want to write a book. They really want to share their information with the world. But for one reason or the other, they continue to procrastinate. And this is the greatest handicap that every author confronts, because the writing process is tedious. To go through this process by yourself, you really have to be determined. You really need to be disciplined to go through the process. So we want to remove this barrier, this obstacle, and make it easy for anyone who is really who is really wanting to put their message out to be able to do it. Because once you say to us, okay, help me do this, you are guaranteed that your book will be published. That's a guarantee. So it really makes a big difference to take action, because the only thing that really matters is action and performance. We've given you a lot of information today, and you have information from many sources, but that's just information. Until action is applied to information, it just remains information. Information does not write your book. Information does not edit, proofread. It doesn't do cover design. So it's really important to take action, because people always come up with reasons, excuses to procrastinate. I don't have enough money. I want to wait until I get a PhD. I want to wait till my children grow up. I want to wait for this and that. I mean, they are all reasonable reasons, you see. But, when you make up your mind to do something, especially writing a book, my recommendation is just to go for it. Whether you deal with us, or you do it by yourself, or you deal with another company, just go and do it. Because it's really important to take action in doing whatever you want to do. So action makes a big difference. It gives results. And in addition to taking action, what I recommend also is that you apply goal setting. I mean, many people know about goal setting, but not everybody does it. Now, particularly with book writing and publishing, you really have to set goals on the various steps, what you want to accomplish within certain times. If you don't set a goal, it can take a long, long time to finish a project. So one of the things that we do is that we set goals for completion. And since I've been doing this for such a long time, we have really nailed it down. We have a system of doing this that makes it, very smooth. Now, I think I'm going to end by, just talking about one more thing. That's about people in general. I think that people can be divided into three groups. Those who make things happen, group number one. Number two, those who watch things happen. And the third group, those who wonder what just happened. And I think that authors make things happen, and I encourage you to take action and make things happen. And I'm going to turn over to Michael to open up for us to answer your questions, and then we go from there.
Okay. Back on video here. We have a couple of several questions here. First, I have one from Donna. It says, I have contacted several self-publishing companies and want to know what's the safe way to submit your book for them to review. And it's so difficult to submit your book for a retainer rather than paying out of pocket. So, Donna, it sounds like you might want to expand on that a little bit, but I'll let Dr. Zeal answer that.
Do you want me to comment on it? Are you
yes, I
waiting
do.
for Donna?
Yeah. It's. I'll read it again.
Okay.
I have contacted several self-publishing companies and want to know what's the safe way to submit your book for them to review. And it's so difficult to submit your book for a retainer rather than paying out of pocket.
Okay. Well, most self-publishing companies or print-on-demand companies are not the major publishers that you send your manuscript to, and if they accept it, they can actually pay you and publish your book for you. that is not the business model of the print-on-demand companies. They get paid to do what they do. So that is why you may be having this challenge. And also, some authors worry that if they submit their manuscript, that someone might steal their idea and publish it. It's a reasonable concern, but most publishers are so preoccupied with work that they don't have time to take your material. I'm sure it does happen from time to time, but it's not really something that one should be concerned about. So because of the nature of these self-publishing companies, they're not in a position to do things for free or to pay you to publish your manuscript. It's the other way around. You pay them, but they get the work done for you. That's the way they work. If you want the other way, you have to go to a major publisher. And many of them will request for you to have an agent, a literary agent to go through, because they just want to filter out some authors who are not very serious.
Okay, another question. This one comes from John. John is asking, how long is the one-time payment available? Well, the answer to that is it's good till midnight Pacific time, so you'll be able to go and make that purchase during that time frame. And for the two payment option, which is the strategy session and then paying the balance, we probably leave that open a bit longer, maybe till tomorrow, etc. So that's the answer to that, John. Okay, Jennifer asks, for this type of interview format, is there a type of book that will work best for that? And I'll let you answer that, Dr. V. What do you think would be the best application for success using this format book?
I think that you can use this format, Jennifer, for a memoir. You can use it for a self-help book, an inspirational book, sort of thing. This format, I do not think, is very efficient for highly technical books that require a lot of time to disseminate the information. It wouldn't work under this model, but if you have, a memoir, a self-help book, a story to tell, a poem, all these things are very, very good. But even if you had a technical book, if you have done if you have laid the foundation, then this can still work, but it's not the best for it. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. Jennifer's asking about the buttons. There are buttons that are on the interface. You should see one now that says 2-hour author package strategy, and then there's a yellow button that says get started. I'm going to show that here for the next minute or so, and then I'm going to change it to the first option, which is the pay one price of $27.50. So if you see this, if you're interested in the to-pay option, go ahead and click the Get Started button, and that will open up another window or another tab in your browser that would allow you to complete the purchase via PayPal. You'll see Dig Deep Media is at the top of that page, so that's so you know where you're going and the sponsoring PayPal account. Okay. So I'll wait a minute and then I'll go ahead and put the other button up. I'll tell you when I do that. All right, so George is asking a question about the formats and how it gets distributed. So there is the print book, obviously. You would get 50 copies of that. And also there's the electronic version. that gets uploaded. But Dr. Zeal, maybe you can talk a little more about how widely that electronic and print version is available. On what venues, how widespread is it around the world?
Yeah, we use companies such as Lightning Source, and also we use CreateSpace for our work. And the distribution channel goes to Amazon, from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all the different online booksellers in the United States, in Europe, in Asia. In other words, you can go to Japan and open up Amazon Japan, and your book will be there, and all the information will be in Japanese. All the major booksellers around the world will have your book. Okay, so the distribution channel is very, very wide. I hope that answers your question. So you can find your book in Germany online. You can find the book in Africa, in Asia, all over the world, with the major online booksellers.
Okay, very good.
Our main distributor is Ingram, and Ingram is perhaps the largest distributor in the world. So it goes through all Ingram's distribution channels.
Okay, so this is it's covering a very good size or chunk of the market. Yes.
Yeah, both the ebook version and the paperback.
Okay, very good. All right, so I just want to let everybody know the button for the one pay option, first mover option, is now displayed on the right-hand side of your screen. The yellow button says sign up today. And again, this gives you the lowest possible price that you can pay, which is $27.50 for till midnight tonight. That is the total cost. Okay. I have, let's go back and look at the chat. Okay, Donna has another input. She says, I have a friend that was paid to publish his book. He didn't pay anything out of pocket. If you have a traditional publisher and they accept your book for publication, that may be the case. But I'll let Dr. Zeal, expound on that.
Yeah. Well, your friend Donna is one of the fortunate few that got paid to have her book published, and I'll say congratulations to her. For many people, the reason people go and publish their own books is because it's hard to get through the major publishers. That's why. If it was easy to get through the major publishers, there would be no self-publishing. Everybody will go through the major publishers. Well, there are advantages and disadvantages of either going to the major publisher or doing it yourself. If you go through the major publisher, and many of them today, I think all of them today, require you to go through an agent. The agents normally want to represent authors who are established. An agent gets paid to represent you. So if you're already an established author, then the agent is very happy to represent you because he or she will probably sell your book to a major publisher. But if you are an unknown, the agent is not eager to represent you unless you pay the agent up front. Just look at the agent as a real estate agent. A real estate agent will first qualify you to make sure that he or she is not wasting his or her time with you. So, and if you are not qualified, then they will charge you a fee to go around and look for a publisher for you. There is no guarantee they will find you one. So this is just how the market works today, because in the past, these publishers, even today, they get a lot of unsolicited manuscripts sent to them, thousands of them. And guess where they go? They go in the garbage can. That's where they go. And no offense, because in order for the publishers to read this manuscript, which are anywhere from 150 to 300 to 400 pages, you have to employ staff to do that. You have to have a whole department to do nothing but read manuscript. You see? So what they normally do is have you just send them a synopsis. Just send us one chapter sample of your book, maybe 10 pages. They don't have time to read the whole thing. But as from the author's standpoint, you are an artist, a creative person. One chapter does not serve the purpose of your book, you may be saying to yourself, because the main thing is spread around the whole book. How can one chapter do it? But that's what they have time for. And if they don't feel that the book is worth it based on your synopsis, again, they say no. So people get a lot of rejection letters and get discouraged until they give up. But even if you self-published, it doesn't mean that you have lost your option to get published or picked up by a major publisher. If you recall, there's a book that was published years ago called Christmas Bugs. And it took the author just maybe a couple of weeks to write the book, but he did so well selling this book over a few Christmas seasons that Simon & Schuster paid him $4.2 million to buy the book from him. This is after he had already self-published. Some of the people that some famous authors like John Gray, men are from Mars, men are from Venus. Well, he was first self-published. And then later on, he did so well that he got bought out by a major publisher. So you have the option, even if you self-publish, you can still sell your intellectual property rights to a major publisher. And it's not limited to major publishers in the U.S. You can sell your intellectual property rights to Germany, to France, to Japan, Japan-based companies, and so on. So I went off a little bit on a tangent there, but I want to include as much as possible because it's not so easy to get your book published by a major publisher. Otherwise, there'd be no need for self-publishing. Now, if you do self-publish, you retain control of your entire book. You own 100% of the intellectual property rights. Now, if a major publisher publishes your book for you, depending on the contract, they own the right to your book.
That's something that a lot of might get the hair up on the back.
Well, I'm looking at you cracking your neck, and you're making me laugh here.
Yeah.
Anyway, you retain the control of your book. You retain control of the cover design of your book. You determine even the font size and type that is used in your book. You have full control of your entire book. As an artist, you have your book exactly the way you want it.
Right.
And with print on demand, let's say you got your book today. Next week, you decide you want to add another chapter to it, or you want to take away something from it, or you want to make any kind of change. You want to change the picture of yourself in the back of your book. No problem. You can do it. Send in another picture. We put it in. We upload it. 24 hours later or 48 hours later at the maximum, anyone that buys your book has a new version. Try doing that with a traditional publisher. You have to wait until their next publishing cycle or printing cycle. If they accept to make the change, then you have to wait for the next publishing cycle for that change to take place. If it's 6 months, if it's 1 year, if it's 3 years, you just have to wait. So there's a lot of advantages to self-publishing. It's very flexible, self-publishing, and you make more money.
Yeah, I think we should add right on that point that in this process in our service and product here, you retain 100% of the rights to the material. There's nothing that we claim in any way as being a publisher owned material. So it's
that is correct.
Yeah, it's going to be yours and yours alone. So this is a one-time service. There's no chains or shackles that we're going to put on your feet. All right.
And that's very important because some company will try to retain some of your rights. We don't do that. You have 100% of the right to the book. After you're done with us, you can go anywhere else and reproduce. It doesn't matter. It's your intellectual property.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have run a little bit over. We were expecting 60 minutes. I'll just say again, for the people who didn't see the buttons displayed. There are, in the chat box, you'll see hyperlinks to PayPal, one for the strategy session option and the other for the one-time payment. So just by clicking on those, it will open up a new tab, and you'll be able to fulfill the order by doing that. So
I want to say one more thing, Michael.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, and I wanted to indicate that it's okay to wait and for the big publishers to pick you up eventually, but it might take a long time. It might take, I don't know how long it's going to take. It might take months, it might take years, it might take 5 years before you get picked up. But if you self-publish, the consumer, people can begin immediately to enjoy whatever you have to offer, to benefit from whatever you have to offer. And still, it doesn't preclude your right to approach the major publishers while people are already benefiting from what you have to offer them. I just wanted to make that point.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. So with that, I think that we've pretty much covered what we want to cover. We appreciate everybody joining us today. We had some technical difficulties there, but I appreciate the patience. And hopefully you've taken something here that you can use. If you have any questions at all, there is an email address that you can follow up with, and that is services@2hourauthor.com. Services@2hourauthor.com. So if you have any questions to follow up with, please, you can get to us both at that address. So with that, I appreciate your coming on, and Zeal, I'll let you say your goodbye as well.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, talking with all of you. I wish I could see your faces, but it's a pleasure talking with you, and I hope to hear from you and to work together with you. Have a great day.
Okay, everybody. Have a nice day.